What's up, y'all? Today we're out here in Georgetown, Texas. We are at Wolf Ranch, which is kind of like a shopping center, but basically today I'm kind of doing a spot check video of a winch spot I hit in my full video part called Still Gonna Send It. This video part is actually pretty old now, so if you guys have not checked it out, I will leave the link to it down in the description below. We'll just get started with how we set this spot up. It was fairly easy and straightforward. The goal was just to start in the top pond up there, grind the curved bricked ledge on the left and drop into this bottom pond. So it was kind of just a straight shot for the rope. There was no need for any pulleys or anything like that. And we just anchored the winch right here to this post. The winch that I used for this spot was a 6 to 6.5 horsepower Winch winch that I purchased used. I'm not really sure if there was something wrong with this winch or not. Maybe the horsepower was too low for my body weight at around 165 pounds, but this winch felt very underpowered for this spot. Later down the road, someone actually ended up giving me a used broken bulldozer for free with around an 8 horsepower engine on it. I just ended up cleaning out the carburetor and it fired right up perfect. So we actually ended up using that winch for the rest of the Still Gonna Send It video, and this winch provided a ton more power than the Winch winch. So I recommend about 8 horsepower for a gas powered winch, and yeah, it'll get you across the water and you won't feel like you're sinking, and I think it's just much better to have a little bit more power. And if you can afford an electric winch like the Winch, this is definitely a game changer. You can set the speed to whatever you want, so you don't need a great driver. It's more powerful than both of the winches we use in this video. It's also small, can fit in a backpack, and you can get it to whatever spot you want very easily. You don't have to lug around this big heavy metal thing with an engine on it. It's overall just a better product, and I highly recommend. The walk for this spot was fairly easy. You would just grab the handle over there where the winch was, and you would just walk along this brick wall right here. This is maybe like 12, 13 feet right here, and yeah, you just walk it out, walk all the way across there. And the only part that really kind of sucked was, for some reason, you couldn't carry the rope around that way. I think it would get caught on something. I can't really remember, but I was actually walking across here and swimming through the pond, and whenever you would step on the bottom of that pond, a poop smell would come up, and it was absolutely disgusting. So I would like try and swim across the surface, and with a gas winch it's pretty hard to swim out a rope because there is that engine brake and resistance. So yeah, getting the rope out over there was pretty difficult, but from here to where the beginning of the spot wasn't too much of a challenge. So I'd say it was about a medium difficulty to just pull the rope out every time. Luckily, I only pulled the rope out for this spot 3 times because I actually absolutely hated this spot, because on my very first attempt, I fell off of this brick ledge early and ended up clipping my tail on this rock closeout, which resulted in me getting thrown over the front, digging my nose, and getting hammered pretty good. I actually wish I had this clip for you guys, but I have no idea where to find it. But I did realize that if I ended up falling off that ledge any earlier and sort of running into the face of these rocks, the consequence would be quite high. So here we are at the beginning of the ledge. Something we actually did for this setup was we put a bump right here to help us get all the way up to the ledge, because the water's only around 2 inches deep right there, and the horsepower versus speed and ollie power was not very high here. You cannot travel a lot of distance with the horsepower we had because we just weren't really going fast enough, and it felt like you were almost sinking. So we put a nice little bump there up to the ledge, and yeah, that would carry you over onto this, and you try and ride this bumpy thing out up and around the corner over there to hop down under that bottom pool. I don't know if you can see here, but this surface is actually insanely rough. There's tons of bits of concrete sticking up everywhere, and the rock is made out of this kind of sandy, like sandpaper material. It's not such like a very dense rock, so it was very, very grippy on your wakeboard. So what we actually used was Irish Spring soap. Sometimes this is better than Gulf wax. It just doesn't last as long as actual wax, but it does cake on a rock or something that's super grippy more easily. So I highly recommend, if you're trying to wax a spot down that's extremely rough, Irish Spring bar soap does great, especially the aloe version. It cakes on very, very good, and especially big bumps like this, you can almost like fill them in with soap, and yeah, you can get across something like that more easily. Something that you couldn't see that well in the video is that this ledge is actually kinked very heavily to the right, almost in a C shape. So you can see right here that heavy kink going over to the right, and this is actually why I hated the spot so much, because you get pulled off of it very easily, and that's why I ended up clipping the closeout on my first attempt. Also, I believe that this rock right here is where I got pulled off early, to where I actually barely ended up clearing the rocks down below because the winch was so slow. If we had the full-blown 8 horsepower, I feel that I could jump a much further distance and it wouldn't be as much of a risk. So I got hammered on my first attempt. On my second attempt, I landed a clean frontside 180 out. So I popped from there over the closeout, frontside 180, and I landed that clean, and my filmer was over there filming with the long lens. And I ended up doing it one more time for my third attempt, just so I could get a different angle. I had my filmer down here with a fisheye up against this ledge right here. So yeah, I just hit the ledge one more time and did the same exact frontside 180 out again, and landed it clean, so I could have 2 different angles. So I just measured it out from the entrance of this ledge to where I exited was around 36 feet from the entrance all the way up to here where I believe I exited was right there. So yeah, could have been exactly 36 feet, maybe a little bit more or maybe a little bit less, but I believe I exited right here up and over the closeout. So yeah, a nice little 36-foot bumpy little rock slide. All right, well, that's it for the spot. It's not quite the craziest one in the world, but it worked out pretty good. So overall, I'm pretty stoked with the clip. If you guys did like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up, comment below what kind of videos you guys want to see next, or if you want to see another video like this one, let me know. I have plenty more spots that I can revisit for you guys. And yeah, remember, I'll be opening a wakeboarding video every second day forever, so make sure you guys subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Peace.